All right. Well, hello, Miss Pamela.
Hello,
How are you?
Jennifer. I'm well, thank you.
Good. Tell me who you are and what do you do?
Okay, I'm Pamela Jacobs. I'm a certified financial planner and I own an RIA firm called Frontier Wealth Strategies based out of Northern California. We work with individuals on their planning for their retirement or whatever it may be. So we watch the money.
I love it. And my name is Jennifer Lampe, and I am a mortgage advisor helping clients with all things with their home loans. And today I'm so excited to be talking with Pamela because we're going to talk specifically about seniors and dive a little bit into a particular loan type that some seniors will do or choose to do, and that's a reverse loan. So, shall we get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, working with seniors is delicate,
Yeah.
and there are some additional thought process and stuff that you have to have when you work with seniors, and especially with their finances. What are some of the biggest financial concerns seniors face when planning for retirement right now?
It's loss of income. It's loss of their capital principal that they have, or just that income stream that's coming in. So we need to review what that is, what's fixed, some of them have pensions, they have their Social Security, but if that's all that they have, we need to see, are there other ways to help create income for them?
Got it. And as a senior is considering whether, just beginning the talk of retirement, or they're already past retirement, what are some of the fears that you have to help work them through as they're aging and they're starting to make some of these big financial decisions?
Well, a lot of them that I talk with, they have their income. I mean, I've come across a few where their income is all that it's fixed. There's nothing else. And they may have their home, they may have a small retirement account or a small brokerage account, but that's it. So we have to get really creative about what their needs are going to be in retirement. It slows down from vacations to family events to how am I going to care for myself? What if I need someone to come and take care of me? What if I need to go to a home?
Mm.
So we start looking at how is that going to be covered in the state of California. It is not inexpensive at all.
You said it's not inexpensive?
Right? It's not inexpensive. It is
Right.
extremely expensive. I think the latest cost for an hourly rate of someone to come into your home, and this is custodial care, meaning helping you stand. There's no drugs or anything being administered. It's an average $35 an hour with a 4-hour minimum. So that can eat
Wow.
up a Social Security check really fast if someone needs someone 30 days a month in there to care for them because there's no other care. Maybe they have a spouse that can help out some, but the costs start to really add up when we need to bring someone in. And if there's no resources, then we have to get creative.
Got it. And you work with a lot of seniors, uh, correct? Am I correct in saying
I
that?
do, I do. Unfortunately, what is it? 65 and over is considered a senior. So if anyone's looking at this and saying, I'm no senior, I'm only 65. The cutest story is I had a client, she was in her 80s and she taught dancing at a adult community center. And she goes, they all come in their walkers. These are just old people. And I said, okay, because she could dance and run the class. She didn't consider herself old. So it was very cute.
Yeah, yep. I gotcha. Well, what are some, in terms of just working specifically with seniors, is there a way that you work with them that's different than other people? Are there certain things that you need, other tools and other things that you need to bring in to help make that process smoother and
No, I mean, it's the same for every client. It's just understanding. So when you're working with a senior, right, um, their capacity for understanding starts to ebb. And so you want to make sure that they're understanding what's happening. You're also looking at them and if there are any family members that can come in and help assist. Maybe they can assist financially, maybe they can assist physically. But you also want to vet that group too to make sure that no one's taking advantage of the senior and their capacity to understand what's happening. There's been a couple situations where I've experienced that where I've had to call in adult protective services to help look at a situation for a senior who is financially being taken advantage of, one with a stranger and one with a family member. So it happens, it's real, and you're shocked. But
Wow.
yeah, your objective is to make sure that you take care of the senior and that they understand what's going on. And a lot of times my seniors, if I'm sensing capacity diminishing, I'm making sure that another family member is involved in the conversation so that I protect me as well as them and their interests, and everybody knows what I'm talking about and what we're considering. So there's no
Got it.
surprises.
Got it. Um, as a CFP, how is that different from just somebody, if just a financial advisor? Is there a fiduciary responsibility that you have? Explain that a little bit.
I do, and thank you for bringing that. As a certified financial planner, that's a certification that I've earned. It's through education, and in order to keep those marks behind my name, I need to continue to keep my education in place. But I also am held to a higher degree of ethics and morality. I mean, I need to make sure that everything I'm suggesting is for the benefit of the client. That's why I'm an RAA. I'm not derived by commissions. None of that drives my suggestions. I'm purely making my recommendations based on the sole interest of the client and what their needs are. And they are suggestions, they're recommendations. I advise. I don't tell them what they have to do. It's other than if they need medical help, right?
Hmm.
I'm just trying to
Yep.
make sure that they understand they have choices. And for seniors, it's important that they know that they have choices.
That's awesome. Okay, wonderful. Thanks for clarifying that. So we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about reverse mortgages.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on a reverse loan from a financial advisor standpoint?
Well, I think it's a great tool to be able to present to a client if you come into that situation where all they have is this beautiful home, it's paid for, maybe it's not paid for, but that's their biggest asset. In the state of California, we realize that the value a lot of times is tied up in the home. So what is it? Cash rich, house, no, house rich, cash poor. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Yep, that's
Something
it.
like that. Sorry. And they're looking at me saying, I have this big expense coming up. Now, if they have the income that can pay that expense, we can look at options for them. But a reverse mortgage, I think, is definitely a place to, it's a tool that I've used a couple times with you in helping some clients that just, there was no other resource for them. And I think it worked out beautifully for them. And I'm happy to be able to offer that. The reverse mortgages of the 2000s, 90s and 2000s, ooh,
Mhm.
those are long gone. Just
Yep.
like everything, I think time and um, the rules and regulators come in and say, we need to review this again. I think that it's definitely cleaned up the industry and made sure that the people that are usually going for a reverse mortgage are your seniors. And
Yep.
so we need to protect them. And so making sure that things are clear, they're getting educated, and they understand what they want and need.
That's good. Yeah, good information. So I know that working with some financial advisors, there are some that don't really like to go into that realm for some reason. They're very hesitant. And I think sometimes when that's the case, it's more or less out of just lack of digging in and understanding what a reverse loan does. One of the things that I do is I try to explain how a reverse loan is just a strategy in their financial plan, and if it's a strategy that works in that big and that overall that financial plan, then it could be potentially a wonderful strategy because it creates an entire realm of opportunity, that they can stay in their house that they're comfortable with. They can eliminate their mortgage payment from their monthly disposable income out of pocket. There's a lot of benefits to it. It's just a matter if it fits into that big strategy. So, what are your I guess we were going to go right into what a reverse loan is. Maybe I'll go ahead and address that. Does that sound
Yeah,
okay? Oh,
absolutely.
okay. So, a reverse mortgage is for seniors, believe it or not, you're saying 65, and it's actually 62 and older.
Oh,
Um,
dang.
yeah, I know.
Ah,
So it allows them to convert part of their home equity into cash without selling their home or making potentially any monthly mortgage payments. So a senior on a reverse loan can make and elect to make mortgage payments, but they don't have to for the rest of the time that they live in that property. So instead of the borrower paying the lender pays the borrower in a few different ways, potentially a lump sum or monthly payments or a line of credit. And then the loan is repaid when the homeowner sells the home, moves out, or passes away. So interest gets accrued over time, just like any other loan, but the remaining equity belongs to the homeowner. So it's really very similar to just a forward loan, but it creates an opportunity for the senior to be able to utilize the equity in their property to make their mortgage payments to the lender instead of them coming out of pocket, writing a check out of their pocket. So it really works really well for people who, like you were saying, have limited funds every month. Maybe they're just on a fixed income, they just have Social Security. A lot of times we'll see seniors choose to do a reverse loan as a couple, even though they make enough money right now and don't necessarily need to eliminate it, but it's a way to protect the spouse in case one of the other spouses passes away and they lose some income or they see some projection of their income going down in the future. So there's a lot of strategies that I feel like reverse really creates an opportunity for.
I think that's great. You brought up a good point. I heard of a couple who did just that. They had moved up and they bought a home. They had no children. And they said, we're going to do a reverse mortgage because we want to have access to this equity in case something happens to either one of them. They found that, and they had the income, but they just want to make sure that they had access and not a forward loan, and that they were having to a line of credit that would have to be paid back. So I know, I think it's a great strategy. I'm finding though that widowed women are tending to be the clients that have called me up to say, okay, Pam, I don't want to be eating cat food. And I say, you're never going to be eating cat food on my watch. But we've had to look at some other strategies about how do we, extract some of that equity that's sitting there. And again, I'm in the state of California. I'm going to say it again. It's those values of those homes. It could be a 2-bedroom, 1-bath shack, and we're finding that they're at $1 million in value. Now, not that I want to grab that, but I want them to know that there is that resource there if they need it. And it's for their benefit, right? And I really want to make sure that the senior, yeah, sure, there's kids and there could be a legacy that they're trying to do, but if it means that my senior might be living under a bridge, I would rather have them do a reverse mortgage and make sure we're taking care of them and their livelihood, their quality of life, and dignity, because that's really important for seniors, is their independence, their dignity, their ability to make decisions, their self-fulfillment too, as a
Yeah.
person.
Well, and here's one of the things you have to think about when a senior they have a house, and there's only a few ways that you can access the asset of that house. You can sell the property, right? And receive the asset, but then they have to find a place to live. You can do a loan, like a cash out refinance or a home equity loan, but both of those have a payment that's required to be paid out of pocket, or you can do a reverse loan. And so reverse loans just allow the senior to actually use in their lifetime the equity that they've built up, which is their asset, just like a retirement account, just like a 401k. It's the same, it's part of their overall retirement assets. It allows them to utilize that part of the asset and then not have a mortgage payment out of pocket in the process. So, and some seniors will do a reverse loan just to eliminate the mortgage payment. Some seniors will do a reverse loan to be able to just have a line of credit that sits there for emergencies or to be able
Right.
to utilize that fund in the future. They might not be using it now, but they might use it in the future. And it just brings peace of mind, and it just creates something that they feel like is there ready for them if they need it.
I couldn't agree more with you, Jennifer. I mean, that's exactly, I've got a couple senior ladies who are in that situation where they just want to have access to it. They don't necessarily want to use it, but if they need to replace, because they worry about, well, what about the roof? Because it's expensive. Where am I supposed to pull that from? And we look at their resources, and then we come back to, and what's interesting is that having those seniors bring the subject up to me. I'm not bringing it up first. They're saying, should I look at a reverse mortgage? I'm thinking of some of the daytime soaps that might be on that are also talking about it, but I like that it's getting the conversation started so that we can look at it with them, if they have kids, with the kids, to kind of help them understand, what are my options? What are my choices? And just have a better open dialogue. Because I think that's the first step, is making sure people understand it so it's not so scary.
Exactly. And you brought up a good point, kids. For me, when I am talking with seniors, a lot of times it's a conversation that needs to be with the entire family,
Right.
because the one question I get from almost every senior that inquires about a reverse loan for me is, what is this going to do to potentially the equity or asset that I want to pass down to my family members? And that's an important question that I always address to them first. I said, you've earned in your lifetime this asset. This is money you have earned this asset. What do you want to do with it? Is it important for you to try to pay this down, or pay the loan off and have a bigger asset, and then if you passed away have something that you can pass down to your family members? Or is it better for you to be able to utilize this asset in your lifetime to help give you the best life and the best opportunities in this life? And there are some seniors that really want to make sure that they have a house that's free and clear and paid off so that they can pass down to their family members. And they find ways to be able to just work towards that goal. And there's some seniors that say, no, my kids are established. They make their
Yeah.
own money. They don't need mom's money. They want mom to be able to live the fullest life and utilize the resources available in their lifetime. And so that's an initial conversation I always start with.
And that's a good point, Jennifer, because I find that the kids say, we don't need any of this, because the mom will say, well, I want to keep this for the kids. They're like, Mom, we don't need this. Do what you need to do for you, because this is your money. We don't want your money. So it's a nice way to make sure that you have a level playing field and understand all the dynamics, because the dynamics can be very different from one family to another. So, which we've experienced.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And just because you do a reverse loan doesn't mean that you're not going to have equity to pass down to a family member. I will say, from a lender's perspective, a reverse loan is a very much an asset based loan type. So you have to have a large amount of equity in the property. The amount of equity you have to qualify is dependent on a few factors, primarily the age of the senior. But we're looking at a lot of times, a 50% equity position before you can even qualify for a reverse loan. Now, those numbers can adjust. If you're older, you'd be able to go a little higher on that loan to value. And if you're younger, it might be a little lower. But it is not one that's setting them up for failure, like they're going to run out of equity in the next 5 years. That's not the way it's constructed at all.
I'm glad that you made that point, because that is some of the worry that I've heard from this next generation. It's like, well, is mom going to do this and she's going to end up on the street anyways? And I said, no, that's not how it's set up. She will never ever have to vacate her home. And that's why we're doing this, to make sure that she never has to have that difficult choice of, I have to sell because I can't make a mortgage payment anymore. PG&E prices are going up through the roof, and I can't make it. And then where does she go? We end up moving to another state because she can't repopulate here in California, just because the costs are way too high. And we won't get into all of that, but we understand that you can't sell here and stay here
Right.
for the
Got
most
it.
part, especially on a fixed income.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely tough in Arizona. I'm personally in Arizona right now. And so our market's a little bit more affordable, but still, it's
It's
tough.
still
It's tough.
changing though. Yeah.
It is absolutely. So you pointed out one thing that I thought is important, that even though you do a reverse loan and you don't have a mortgage payment every month, there are still responsibilities that the senior has to make sure that the loan, that the lender is going, how do I explain it? I lost my train of thought for a second, but that for qualifying for a reverse loan, you still have responsibilities, and that is, they have to be able to make their property taxes. They have to be able to pay their insurance on the property. They have to be able to pay their HOAs and keep all of this current. And then they have to be able to take care of the upkeep on the property. They got to
Right.
maintain the property. So So those are the main um, income. I'm losing my train of thought here.
No, I understand what you're saying.
Sorry.
They have that responsibility. There are still those associated costs with maintaining the property, maintenance, roofs, painting, property taxes, insurance, definitely insurance. You want to make sure that the insurance is covered, especially in California when we're burning like crazy. Um,
Yeah,
and that's a whole nother
that's a
topic.
whole nother yeah,
Yeah,
whole
it's a whole
nother
nother video.
conversation.
But yeah, no, I understand that. And then working closely with a client recently who has done a reverse mortgage, we've made sure that those things can be met and that those are top of mind so that they don't get missed or oops, I forgot about this. Like we can't forget about those things. And they're
Yeah,
simple.
very good, very good. Um, Is there anything else? I'll just kind of go into really quickly about qualifying for a reverse loan. I mean, I already said that it's an asset base, so you really do need to have quite a bit of equity in the property. You can purchase a reverse, you can use a reverse loan on a purchase transaction or refinance. And a lot of times, the point of doing the refinance might be to eliminate that mortgage payment, but sometimes it's to access the equity and a portion of the equity in the property. Like I said, you can do it as a purchase as well, and that's a little bit different of a structure, but it works really well. And then they have to be able to maintain their taxes, insurance, HOA, and maintain the property. But what's interesting about a reverse loan too is it's not as credit score driven and it's not income driven like a normal forward loan. So it does help. It's a little bit of a bigger picture perspective when underwriting a reverse loan, which is really nice. So,
So tell me, what protections are in place to ensure seniors aren't taken advantage of in a reverse mortgage process?
oh my gosh, good question. So first off, the standard reverse loan that most of us do, there are some kind of outside the box reverse loans that some lenders will offer, but the standard one is called a HECM and it is an FHA backed or HUD backed product. So it's highly regulated, just like an FHA loan is on in the forward market. So there are so many checks and balances when you go through the transaction. One of the things that they've done to really make sure that seniors are advised well and they understand what they're doing is they have to do an education class. So they get a certificate. I can't even submit the loan to a reverse loan without that certificate in hand. I can't even disclose the loan to them without that certificate. So it's the very first thing that we recommend is go and do the education, and that counselor sits one-on-one with them and they go through the details of the reverse loan and make sure that they fully understand. And not only am I going through it in detail as their advisor, but they've got that education to back them up as well. And
I
then
love that. And my one client went through that and I was really impressed with the idea that there's a neutral third party that's walking the seniors through that so that they can say, yes, I get it. That way there's no questions in the end of, oh, I didn't understand, because that is the most dreaded sound or sentence that I've ever heard in my profession is, well, I didn't understand what I was doing. It's like, oh,
oh,
okay, wait a minute. I want to make sure it's very clear because this is for you. And as a CFP, my fiduciary responsibility is to make sure they understand what they're doing, why we're doing it, and that they have a choice. And so I love that. And that
absolutely.
you guys do a great job, Jennifer.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a passion to work with seniors, and I really believe in this product because I think it really does create so much opportunity for seniors. But it has to be explained well. You need to include the family. You really need to take time and be patient. I have seniors that consider it and then maybe not do it for a couple of years, and we work
Mm.
together for a couple of years just educating them and their family members on it. But it really is wonderful when you work collaboratively with a financial advisor, or and it might be their entire team. You've got the financial advisor, you might have the CPA involved, and then their family members, and then me as a mortgage broker coming in, and together as an entire team working on their behalf, we work to create what opportunities are going to be best for their financial plan.
No, I think that's great.
Thank
I
you.
I think you answered a lot of questions and hopefully demystified this, but I know that if anybody needs any help in understanding this, they need to reach out to you, Jennifer Lampe at Radiant Financial.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're
And
welcome, because
yes,
you're my
and
go-to as well.
thank you so much. And I appreciate that you are willing to dig into this product for them, and open, open yourself up and your seniors up to the possibility of this. Because like I said, I have come across a lot of financial advisors that are a little nervous to get in and to learn this. And they just they don't give their seniors the opportunity to know about this. So I appreciate that you are always digging in and learning and trying to find every opportunity that you can offer to
Yeah,
help them. So
absolutely. I mean, another arrow in my quiver is always good because the ultimate end user, the client, I want to be able to give them choices and recommendations. So you help make my job easier. Thank you.
thank you. And so now if a senior had questions, whether it's on establishing a financial plan, maybe someone who's about to retire or somebody who's retired and they still don't feel like they have the confidence and the understanding of what to do as they age, or somebody who is looking to potentially just find out more information about reverse loans, you can address the first part and I'll address the second part.
Yeah, we could be a great team for them. I do believe that. And I think that's what people need to do is actually get themselves a team of professionals who can collectively advise them because you don't want just one person directing you. You do need a team. You've got your accountant, tax preparer, or CPA, your
Trust
attorney.
attorneys.
Yes,
Yeah.
trust attorneys. And I can't stress enough that, if you're in the United States, a trust is a great tool that can help protect you, your family, and also your assets and passing on wealth. And so having that structure in place, I found it interesting, just as a quick little side note, that not trusts don't always work if you decide you're going to get yourself a golden visa and go live in Portugal. That they're only done. You can only transfer wealth by will, but you do need to have the will in place. So, I'm always trying to learn and educate myself. So I think that people need to do that more often too. It doesn't cost you much to just get more information. So, and more from
Wonderful. And if
live
they,
people than just the internet.
yes. And if they wanted to reach out to you directly, what's the best way to contact you?
Oh, definitely go to my webpage. It's frontierwealthstrategies.com, and there's a way to contact us. Click on it and set up an appointment with me. I'm happy to take 15 to 30 minutes to kind of see what your situation is. And if we need to dive deeper, we can set up a much longer appointment, either face to face or via Zoom. I'm happy to help educate people. I have no qualms with that. I think we just don't get enough information. Maybe we sit on something and then until something happens, and then we go, "Oh, I need that." So definitely continue to get yourself educated. But I'm happy to talk with anybody who has some questions. And if they want to talk with me first before they reach out to you, because maybe they're a little nervous, I'll help them.
Absolutely. And I've been working with Pam for many years now, and there are a few times in the past where I know that she's had a senior that maybe the spouse has passed away, and the spouse was the person who primarily dealt with the finances. And now you have another spouse who's sitting there and not only grieving at that moment, but also, not sure where to even begin to start in that process. And Pam was usually the first one at their house, digging through files, helping them figure out and clean things up, and
Yeah.
just supporting them. And I love that about you. You just you put, you roll up your sleeves and you say, what do we need to do now to get you through this? And you get into the ditch with them and help them. And I think that's special. And I don't think a lot of financial advisors do that.
Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, it's scary, and so being able to just come in there, and I mean, if I'm literally going through a filing cabinet, it's okay. I feel like it's part of the process to help them get through their grief and then also get a financial picture. Because if it wasn't something that they've done before, it's a big hockey stick learning curve for them. And I want to make it as painless as possible so that they can do what they need to do about themselves. And I can help, as I always say, watch the money and make sure that they're okay. Because, clients saying, I don't want to be eating cat food. It's like, yeah, I don't want you to be eating cat food either.
Right.
So I know where the money is. You won't be doing that, but let me help you get educated and comfortable with this process. And that particular client has been, it's been 4 or 5 years, and I think she's now in a much better place. And it's cute to talk with her now. She goes, I know what I'm doing. So
Yeah.
it's nice. I feel like I served her well, and that's
Yeah.
really my goal. And I know that you do the same thing. I think that's why we pair well together. So we want to make sure that we're serving our clients well, or potential clients, and giving them as much information as they need and the time to process it. And then when they're ready to go, just get in there and hold their hands and get them through it.
Absolutely. And then if you are interested in learning a little bit more about reverse loans, just from a third party site, I would go to HUD.gov. So HUD.gov, that is the FHA or the HUD website, and that will give you a lot of really great information on just reverse loans. And then you can always reach out to me directly. I would love to sit
Yes,
down and talk to you to see if it's even an option. If it is, we'll go through it in detail, and happy to meet with your family and just give you more information on that. You can reach out to me by going to my website, which is Jen Loans, JEN loans.com, or reaching out to me on my cell phone at 407-687-5285. So,
that's
well,
great.
thank
I'll be
you.
calling.
Okay, well, thank you, Pam, again for just having this conversation. I think there's so
Thank
much
you,
more we
Jen.
can dig into, and we probably will at another time. But I appreciate what you do out in the world, and for the people around you. You're special, and important, and I love being part of your team and part of your partnership.
Thank you. I feel ditto all the way around, Jennifer. Thank you so much, because I have every confidence when I put a client in front of you that you're going to take absolute care. It's a white glove treatment, you know.
Thank
So I'm
thank
always
you.
very happy with you. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome.